Hi again. So this is part two. So this is the bit we normally do at the end, but you'll see why we're doing it in this order. So we always have to look at the strategies. So the real life application of this, and here we're looking at kind of how to reduce the bias. We've looked at there are potential biases involved. So how do we reduce this? And we're going to look at two methods. Okay. First one is being blind, and the other one is kind of a method that they use called the ACE-V method. Okay, so at the end we just need to make some notes on this. Again, not massive, be less than a page easily. Okay, so blinding precautions. I'll put all this out for you to kind of look at as I'm kind of talking about it. So just the idea that the fingerprint expert doesn't know what's going on. Okay, they only have the information that is they need to work the case. The fingerprints involved, which ones. Okay, so there's no kind of contextual issue here. So what I said earlier about me, I wouldn't want to know anything about the case because that might influence me. So this is the way to kind of secure that. So you only pass the information on to the fingerprint specialist, who you only pass the information on that they need to know. So just in this case, the fingerprints. Okay. There'd be nothing else that would need to kind of be known at all. So if you're asked to check someone else's, you wouldn't know what they said. Someone else would check that you're the same thing. Okay, so it's basically not knowing anything. Okay, at all. And that is always the best thing. We talked about this when we did like observer bias and researcher bias back in year one about not knowing things. So for example, when vaccines are tested, they have to test a placebo against the trial. So the person injecting the vaccine shouldn't know what if they're given the vaccine or the placebo one, because they might unconsciously bias people. Okay, so it's that kind of idea. Okay, so that is pretty standard stuff in most disciplines to have these blinding procedures, so being blind to what's going on. But kind of an actual way which is 100% used is this method called ACE. Okay, and it's like a 4-step process to reduce any kind of influence. Okay, so first of all, the analysis is done. The fingerprint person kind of marks the kind of fingerprints, see what they say. Okay, they then compare that, so they kind of look at the kind of the fingerprint they see any kind of marks that there are. They then look for that on the actual bit of fingerprint that they found at the crime scene. Okay, they then try and reach a decision over this to see if there is a match or not, and importantly, someone else then does this process again and double checks everything. So this is kind of what they're asked to do. So it's a step-by-step process of how they actually interpret the fingerprints. Okay, so you look for the marks on the fingerprint, okay, and then compare it with the other one, make your decision, and then get it double checked. Okay, so really quite straightforward. Nothing hard on these applications at all. So as I said, can you again just get some brief summary notes done on this? You need to know the step-by-step procedure of ACE-V. That's important, but blinding one, there isn't much there at all. So please do that for me, and then go on to part 3.